hello, and finally, it has happened, and I must say, finally, I can say, I am back. I legit am back because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not feeling to all 100. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I'm feeling much better. I caught some sort of a bug, and I finally can say that I am back and I can stream, I can talk, I can be myself once again, which obviously is great freaking news, of course, especially for me because I love doing this kind of stuff. So, really hope Arsenal didn't bother you too much over the past week with the game against City, with the game against Atalanta. While I was away, and of course against Bolton, and now we are looking ahead of Leicester City, of course. But yeah, overall, today we're gonna talk about Bolton. We're gonna discuss some topics that happened over the week while I was away and I was still kind of under the weather, let's just say that, and some other new things that has happened with Arsenal and surrounding Arsenal overall. So if you're new around here, don't forget to smash thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, all that good stuff, get live, interactive in the chat, in the comments if you are watching this as a playback, and my camera already is doing a madness. But yeah, big up BX Gunner in the chat, big up, and I have no idea why again my chat is not showing on the screen, which obviously is very bad news. Hopefully it gets fixed very soon. But yeah, big up BX Gunner in the chat, hope you're doing well, my man, hope you are doing fantastically well. So for today, we're gonna kick things off, of course. So we're gonna talk about Bolton, the game that happened yesterday. There's Arteta post-match interview. There are players we need to talk about, player ratings, some other things that happened with Man City, with Atalanta and stuff like that. And of course, some other things. Let's just talk about all that is at hand. And we're gonna kick things off with, of course, we're gonna talk about the game against Bolton yesterday. In Carabao Cup, Arsenal won 5-1 at home, rotated pretty heavily, and actually it still should have been done, let's be real. We had to rotate because we didn't have that. We had players, but we didn't have that many players. And on top of all that, our young players should have done the job, especially given the fact that they're Bolton, League One side, who are basically already in the relegation battle. So we should have done the job, we got the job done. So that is good news. We already, of course, the draw was yesterday. We drew Preston, so championship side, which again, now this time will be a bit of a iffy one. I'm not gonna lie. There you won't be able maybe to rotate as much, but definitely you could play some players like Skelly, like Nwaneri, and stuff like that, of course. So overall, yesterday, good game, good job. We're gonna get into that in a split second, but we're gonna kick things off with Mikel Arteta interview. By the way, in this image, it looks like it's snowing, but I swear it was raining yesterday, so it is what it is. But Mikel Arteta has spoken some waffle, some stuff, random stuff has spoken. Let's see. Would be nice, again, I'm gonna try to launch this, but I would be nice if actually the pop-up chat was working, because somehow it is not working and it's really bothering me, I'm not gonna lie. So if you're new around here, this is not going according to plan, I'm not gonna lie. But overall, yeah, let's see. Haven't done this in a week and I already feel like I'm streaming for the first time in my life, genuinely. Anyhow, let's do this. Let's try. Is this working? No, it's not. This is not good news at all. Anyhow, let's get into our TED interview. Maybe it will start working on its own like it did the last time. Anyways, on the performance of our young gunners, obviously Arsenal rotated heavily. Nichols played, Skelly played, and Nwaneri, of course, played. Three big youngsters. Obviously, we had a Porter, 16-year-old in goal, which is actually kind of nuts for him, so that was kind of insane as well. So, overall, Mikel Arteta says that it was really a positive night. The result, the performance, we gave minutes to a lot of senior players, and they really showed a lot of quality tonight. And on top of that, we gave lots of opportunity to quite a lot of academy players. They responded really well, and so fulfilling to see their faces, their reaction, how much it meant to them. So, great night. Obviously, our youngsters played quite a bit of youngsters played. I'm not gonna lie, our youngsters outperform most of our senior big players, which is very interesting. Obviously, they also, like Skelly, especially in the Nwaneri, are kind of fighting for the spot in the team for sure. So that will be very interesting to see how that develops. But overall, they were very good. Very good. And to be honest, if you look at this, Ethan Nwaneri yesterday, in 90 minutes, so he played the full 90, 44 touches, 2 shots, 2 goals. Clinical finishing. Clinical finishing. 28 passes, 2 key passes, 1 long ball, 2 tackles. I don't get into stats too much, but this definitely was a very good game. And you could see the qualities in Nwaneri, and given the fact how good he is, I definitely believe he should be playing some main guy minutes also in Premier League. Now, would you start him against Leicester? Is the big question. We're gonna get to that in tomorrow's stream. So we're gonna talk about it then. But Nwaneri definitely is the one that has showed quality and good footballing IQ, and in situations has dropped shoulders, skilled and everything just to get the job done. That was fan-freaking-tastic. Big up Pepper in the chat. Sorry, Pepper. Stream, I don't know why, but it's not working. The what's its face? The chat is not popping up. It's really bothering me at the moment. So we'll see how this goes. Wait, give me a sec. I have an idea here. I'm gonna check this if it's because of that. If not, well, oh well. We're gonna live without it. But let's see. Extensions. Where are they? That's working. Let's remove. Let's enable. Let's do that. If it doesn't work, we're gonna live without the chats for today, at least, definitely. So yeah, it is what it is. I guess it's not gonna work. Yeah, it's not. Big up, Pepper. Conman music for the win, definitely. There were some nuts questions as well. We're gonna look into those. On Jack Porter's reaction to starting a 16. Imagine what were you doing when you were 16? Like seriously, what were you doing when you were 16? Dating girls, having a party, drinking beer. Well, not in my case. I was actually playing football. But most of the young people these days at 16 years old just sit and stare at their screens. Porter, on the other hand, debuts for Arsenal Carabao Cup game. Levels. We told him yesterday he was over the moon straight away. I think he spoke to his family, and yeah, they weren't prepared for that. It's a big step. It's a big occasion for them. Blah blah blah. Next one. On Ethan Nwaneri scoring his first goals for the club. That was a massive one. I think. Yeah, you cannot say enough about Ethan Nwaneri, to be honest, because the way he is, 17 years old, the maturity, the skill, the footballing IQ, everything he has shown overall, generally leads me to believe that he is actually much better than many players we actually have had in our team. In these games he has played, especially yesterday, he has showed more at Arsenal than, for example, Fabio Vieira has shown at Arsenal for the last 2 years, and we paid 35 million for him. Isn't that saying much, to be honest, about our recruitment of players, our scouting department and everything, to be honest? So that is a weird one. That's a very interesting one. And to be honest, sometimes you don't need to look further. Sometimes you have players in your academy to actually do the job. Basically, in a way, it's also a forced situation because Odegaard is out for quite some time, to be honest. I think he will be back around November, maybe. So it maybe mid-November, to be honest, most likely. It will remain to be seen what's going to happen there. But Nwaneri definitely has shown that he has the potential and the ability to play a significant role in this team. He doesn't fall out of place. He doesn't shy away from the ball, which is something I really love about him. Because many players, doesn't matter the position, specifically midfield or wingers, he's also at Arsenal, try to sometimes shy away and hide from the ball in very difficult situations when maybe game is not going their way, maybe they get pressed a lot and everything. They shy away from the ball. They kind of, in a way, hide during the match. Nwaneri doesn't have that. He runs towards the ball, he wants to be open, and that is something that many players should kind of look into. For example, if you look, I'm not saying he is as good, he can be as good and not even better, but Alexis Sanchez. If you remember Alexis Sanchez at Arsenal, it didn't matter how his game was going, how the opponents were playing, he always was demanding ball at his feet. Always. He took on opponents, tried to dribble past them, 3-4 of them. He lost the ball on many occasions as well, but it didn't discourage him. He still asked for the ball, and sooner or later he just got his breakthrough and scored a goal or gave an assist. It was pretty much an inevitable situation. So if Ethan Nwaneri can be this brave throughout his whole career, and specifically for Arsenal in this instance, definitely it's something Arsenal can use to their advantage, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So it remains to be seen what's going to come from Ethan Nwaneri, but so far he has been very impressive. What Arteta said about Ethan, I'm very happy that he scored. reaction to teammates also as well. So I think overall, again, I think he was really, really good. He's our next star boy. Already Arsenal fans are saying. You don't get many star boys unless you have like a world-class academy like La Masia or something like that. So getting two quote-unquote high-end potential star boys in span of, let's just say for the sake of an argument, 10 years, that is very, very rare in a way. So for Arsenal to find two diamonds like that, it is very crucial for Arsenal's future. Now the question is, will for example Saka be here by that time when Ethan Nwaneri is fully grown and ready to take on certain responsibilities? That is the big one. And will he not disappear or get injuries will haunt him forever? Those are the two biggest questions, because the way how teammates are speaking about Nwaneri, under 16s, under 18s, 21s, everyone's speaking about him, like he knows, like realistically, that he is better than most players he's playing against in their age groups at the time when he was there, right? Yet he didn't ever did anything to kind of show it in a way of his attitude. He always had his head down, he was working hard, never said I'm better, like never kind of gave indication that I'm better than you and you should be listening to me. He always was a team player, always working hard, very humble, very peaceful and very simple guy. And that is something that will get you far. Head down, work hard, and results will come sooner or later. So that remains to be seen what's going to come from that. And senior players guiding the young players, yes, they were already doing it in training, giving him the advice. I think the boys really confident. Yeah, there were reports that Martin Odegaard has taken upon himself to kind of tutor, in a way, Ethan Nwaneri as well, has taken him under his wing, which is something you love to see, especially since he's the captain and everything. At the same time, I really hope that Ethan Nwaneri kind of molds his game by his style, because there are many characteristics in Odegaard I actually don't like. As good as he is to a certain extent for Arsenal, there are many things that really frustrate me about him. So as long as Nwaneri doesn't pick them up, I'm all for that. Oh, Raheem the Dream question. Raheem's performance, yes, it's very good. I think he's getting better and better. I think physically you can tell that he's making big steps. The moment the game opened a little bit, you know what he can do, how he can deliver. And to be honest, that's true. For the first 20-25 minutes, Sterling was, I would say, average, if not poor. But as soon as we scored that first goal, the whole game opened up, and somehow it gave extra confidence for Sterling. This pass to him from Skelly, the perfect thread the needle in behind defender's pass for Nwaneri's second goal and everything. The way he was gliding between defenders, and let's not get carried away, it's only Bolton, right? At the same time, you need games like this to build confidence, to build a trust in himself and from teammates into him. And in a way, it came at the very most opportunistic moment, because Arsenal were struggling really, really to very, really big extent in attack without scoring goals, because scoring one goal, scoring random 1 or 2 goals, it was evident that our attack was lacking. I know, again, it's only Bolton, but at the same time, you needed these games where you score quite a bit of goals to kind of install the belief and the trust again into attack. Because we cannot rely solely on set pieces to carry us through the games, because it happened against City, it happened against Spurs, it won't happen all the time. At some point, we will either get figured out or we won't start scoring. Because it generally feels like we are banking on Gabriel like scoring 10-15 goals this season from corners or set pieces alone to get those extra goals where our attack is lacking in a way. It feels that way to some extent, because Gabriel Magalhaes, if I'm not mistaken, is second if not the highest scorer at Arsenal at the moment. There was a stat, where is it? Here it is. Highest scorers at Arsenal this season, and this is kind of a mad one if you ask me. Kai Havertz has 3 goals, scored yesterday as well, by the way, came on as a sub. Nwaneri, yesterday, scored 2 goals against Bolton, and this season for Arsenal, he is in the 2nd place in top scorers. And the 3rd place is Gabriel with 2 goals as well. It just shows that our attack is struggling quite a bit. Bukayo Saka has a goal and some other players have goals. But overall, it just shows that our attack is struggling. It's not as free-flowing, it's not as prolific, and we tend to miss quite a bit of chances. We also don't create as many of chances, and to be honest, before Odegaard even got injured, he didn't create a clear-cut chance to score for about 3-4 games in a row. He had created about 1 or 2 chances overall this season for any of our players to score. So that also just shows that it wasn't just our attack that was struggling, Odegaard in general was struggling, and our attack was suffering because of it. Now that Odegaard is out, we need some extra places, extra positions from where to score from. And I think Nwaneri in that instance could be a great one. Because yes, he maybe doesn't have the ball distribution that Odegaard has. Yes, he maybe doesn't have the vision that Odegaard has. But the thing that he has is something that Arsenal hasn't seen for about 2-3 years. Because the last time, in my opinion, we saw something like that was from Emil Smith-Rowe when we finished 5th, I think. The first season when we finished 5th. When he, together with Bukayo Saka, solely saved Mikel Arteta's job that season. We didn't have a sole on-ball carrier. And I think Nwaneri excels at that quite massively. He loves getting ball at his feet, taking on his opponents, and just dragging the ball from the midfield straight to the attack. And that is something we are missing, in my opinion, quite a bit. Because it's one thing when you pass and play and slow and passes and try to possessionally basically make defense fall asleep, and then you just do your final blow. Pause. And everything. But at the same time, you need players who are ball carriers. Get the ball at the feet, drive. Just freaking drive. And Nwaneri is someone who excels at that. And that is something that Arsenal, in my opinion, has been missing since, well, quote-unquote, the best season from Emil Smith-Rowe at Arsenal. And that, I think, will definitely could give us another dimension into attack. Because we had that when we were playing free-flowing football. And now we haven't seen that since. And now we are seeing that again. And it's kind of opening certain gaps that usually were kind of closed and kind of covered by defense. Because, as we all know, Bukayo Saka gets double-triple teamed. Same goes for our left wing. Maybe not as much, but mostly for our right wing as well. Now, Odegaard also get double-triple teamed and he get dispossessed by getting shoved off the ball. However, Ethan Nwaneri has this thing where he can drop a shoulder and just carry the ball himself. He does it quite a bit. He has the technical ability to do so, and that kind of opens up the spaces, especially if it comes off, because that means that he leaves certain defenders in the dust, which means other defenders need to come to help and overcome it, which leaves, again, gaps for other players to run into. And that is something, if we can utilize to the maximum effect as an Arsenal team, especially since we struggle in attack, could be very, very crucial point in our attack until the time Odegaard comes back. Where it's going to happen or not remains to be seen, obviously. But the fact when we are looking at this image and seeing that Havertz is our top goal scorer and the second place is for Nwaneri, who just yesterday scored 2 goals and he already is second top goal scorer at Arsenal. And the third top goal scorer is Gabriel, our center back. That is nothing good. Obviously, it's great when you score from set pieces, you score from those instances, but for a 17-year-old to score 2 goals in one game and he's instantly one of the top goal scorers, something is wrong. Same goes for Kai Havertz. You don't see Jesus there, who yesterday, by the way, was abysmal. Let's be real. Gabriel Jesus yesterday was shocking. Yes, he did a nutmeg. So what? We played against Bolton, League One relegation candidates by the looks of things at the moment. We scored 5 goals and our main number 9 did nothing. Havertz came on and in 5 minutes did more than Jesus did the whole game. I think it's time for us to sell Gabriel Jesus. We paid 45 million for the guy, and he cannot even score against goddamn Bolton, playing almost the full game. Like, how does that even work? That's our bagsman, that's our main number 9s. Yet he cannot even score against goddamn Bolton. Like, it doesn't fly for me. It genuinely doesn't fly for me. And if Arsenal want to win something this year, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, who knows, Champions League, we need goal scorer. And I beg in summer we go and sign a striker. In January, not even summer. In winter, go sign a striker. And we're going to talk about that, about striker links in a second as well. On David Raya's injury and his feature this weekend, this is a big one. We don't know yet, he's got a muscular injury. This is again not a good thing. Because before that we got led to believe that it was just a knock. He will take a few days easy and he will be back for the weekend. Now Arteta is saying it's a muscular injury. Obviously depends on degree of muscular injury, where and how serious it is. But the fact that it's a muscular injury those are never good. Based from my experience, the injuries I have had over the years when I'm playing and training and everything, muscular injuries are never a good thing. So all that remains how long he will be out for. On why Jack Porter was selected, well, there is nothing new. I know Arteta is saying he has been training with us since preseason, he's confident and everything, but let's be real. Raya was injured, Neto is cup-tied in Carabao Cup, Setford, by the way, is injured. We signed Nygaard from Nordsjælland this summer as well, an under-16, under-18 goalkeeper. He is also injured. Obviously, we had Rojas on the bench and stuff like that, but we still gave the opportunity to Porter. So there is something to it. We didn't play. We started Jack Porter because we pretty much didn't have any other options, more or less. It's not like it was just a long decision because he was with us in preseason. We didn't have too many options. We just had to basically take a gamble on one of them. On how close Ethan Nwaneri is to starting in the Premier League, and that is a big question. Would you start Ethan Nwaneri against Leicester City? People watching at the moment, let me know in the chat. Would you start Nwaneri against Leicester City? Would you do that? Because for me, I would start Nwaneri. I legitimately would start Ethan Nwaneri against Leicester City. I think that would actually be a very, very tremendous thing. Potentially, obviously. It remains to be seen how it would work out, but for me, Nwaneri, it wouldn't be the worst thing for him to start against Leicester City. I think it could work out well. How do you feel about this, chat? Would you start Ethan Nwaneri or not? Would you start Ethan Nwaneri? That is the big question at the moment. On having a dream about starting a full team of academy. What the hell is this question? On having a dream about starting a full team of academy graduates. I have all kinds of dreams. Is getting a striker one of them? Like, seriously, is getting a striker one of them? Getting a backup for Saka, for Odegaard? Are those one of your dreams? Or what? But it's nice to have it's a positive. Yeah, cool. What the hell is this question? On whether the players have school tomorrow morning. Seriously, are like 8-year-olds asking these questions? Like, imagine you go to university. You study for about 10 years, just for the sake of argument, let's just say 5 years to become a sports journalist. You become a sports journalist for Arsenal specifically. You go into press conference and you ask this type of question on whether the players have school tomorrow morning. He's 16. He freaking will have school tomorrow. Freaking Lamine Yamal is going to school. He did his exams while being in the Euros, man. What do you mean if they have school tomorrow? What the hell are these questions? On what Mikel Arteta was doing when he was 16 years old. I'm sorry, what? Like, he was at La Masia, everyone knows that. He was trying to get into Barcelona's main squad, just obviously wasn't good enough. Man, on whether he sees himself in Jack... Whoa. On whether he sells himself in Jack Porter. This is some Diddy type thing going on here. What the hell is this? There should be, like, in brackets, pause written after it. Sees himself in Jack Porter. No Diddy, let's just say that. In Jack. Oh, let's just go for it. Let's just skip this question. On switching off from football in between a quick succession of matches. It's not easy, but you kind of have to reset, let's be real. On whether Mikel Arteta has any hobbies outside of football. How does this relate to Bolton game? Anyone? Like, seriously, how does this relate to Bolton game? Like, seriously. No, my biggest one is to spend time with wife and kids while when I have time. Yeah, tennis is one of them. I don't have a lot of time to play. Time to play with my kids. Kids try to get me to play PlayStation, Mario Kart, these things. I'm not a big fan of that as of yet. Okay, one thing. So, Mikael, I'm talking to you. I know we have differences. I know we're trying to smooth things out. I know until you win me something, I'm more or less, I am supporting you, but I'm still, let's be real, not convinced, to say the least. But you ever say that Mario Kart, you are like this thing, right? Not a big fan of Mario Kart. Low-key a diss at Mario Kart, a game that was a childhood top 1 game pretty much. When you rage, when you drop your blue shell, your red shell, a banana peel and everything. That was goated stuff. Just putting it out now. By the way, Arsenal sometimes play like Mario Kart. Jesus yesterday slipped on a banana peel. Jorginho went defending on that goal when he was the last man back, by the way. Yeah, he got hit with a red shell and couldn't catch up to a Bolton player and we conceded and everything. Like, come on, man. Anyways, on what sets apart this current group of players in the squad from previous ones? So, what sets apart Bukayo Saka from Reece Nelson? What sets apart Saliba and Gabriel from Mustafi and David Luiz? You really are asking these questions, aren't you? Really? Really, you are trying to figure these things out? You really need help with that? Like, you're a journalist, you have been following Arsenal, you should be knowing these things, no? What sets apart Saliba from Mustafi? What sets apart Gabriel from David Luiz? Are you freaking kidding me? Okay. This... No thank you. No thank you. No more Coneman music. No thank you. No thank you. Anyways, on to some more relevant stuff. Let's talk about some stats, some transfers, and let's talk about something more interesting like that, besides the press conference and everything. Because otherwise I'm gonna lose it. Genuinely, I think I'm gonna lose it. Now, quickly, I need to set up one thing, just so I can do everything properly. Now, give me a sec. I know it's kind of live, but yeah. Anyways, your thoughts on Bolton game, by the way. Everyone in the chat, let me know what you think about the Bolton game. Were you excited about the game? You liked how players looked? You liked how we did things? You were kind of impressed by anyone besides Skelly and Nwaneri? Let me know that down in the chat below. Please let me know that. That would be great. Let me all know that down below. Anyhow, back to a job in hand. Let's talk about... Whoa, I opened the wrong image. Sorry. Let's talk about this. Anyways, let's move on. Now, obviously yesterday before the game, the news came out that Raya and Timber were not spotted with the Arsenal squad at the team hotel today. Now, the big thing is, many Arsenal players were given just a simple rest. None of them were put on the bench or anything, like Saliba, like obviously Timber and everything. There were some rumors that Calafiori might be has a bit of a knock and everything. Maybe also Timber, because they got subbed off with cramps and everything. So it was a bit of an iffy one, I'm not gonna lie. But overall, besides Raya, obviously obvious ones, Zinchenko, Tierney, Merino, and stuff like that, none of them are injured. They are good. They were just cramping up, not used to the game intensity, I would assume. So obviously the full 110 minutes we played against City also basically took out of them a lot. But I have to talk about the fact that I like that Saka started, because he got subbed off at halftime against City. So he got so he had to play some game here and everything. So that was great, obviously. But by the time I wasn't here, there were lots of controversy, obviously Arsenal and everything. And here it is. One of them. Several angry Premier League clubs are set to put up heat on the referees. Chief Howard Webb over the claim is a series of mistakes by the officials this season. This is something I wanted to talk about, by the way. This season, refereeing is beyond the joke. The more it goes on, the more tragic it gets. Every single season it gets worse. And you always wonder, how can it get worse? It just cannot get worse. At every single game, there is something. And the worst part is the same things. And it's just different outcomes for the same things. Copy-paste scenarios, just different outcomes. And then everyone gets justified a bit differently, so it just sounds that right decision, but at the end of the day, they're just protecting their own. Because the audios that been leaked and everything, when they say, take care of yourself, then someone goes in an interview and says, I didn't want to put my mate in a tight spot. Your mate. There should be some independent refereeing going on. How can certain refs that, for example, play ref Saudi games, get paid by owners of Man City, get ref Man City game, for example? Obviously, I'm in a way now just kind of ranting about referees, and you should be able to play the game somehow and put the game out of the reach so the referee decisions don't affect the game, right? But at the same time, it's not always possible. Let's be real, it's not always possible. And especially in a game like, for example, against City, where Chard gets a red card. He got the second yellow for kicking the ball away. 0.8 seconds between the whistle and the ball getting kicked away. There is not enough reaction time. Obviously, sportsmen have very good reactions, right? So, but still, what? Obviously, he could have gotten a yellow before. He kind of gets spared. Maybe it just kind of accumulated up, and he got sent because of that. But at the same time, it's mostly on Trossard. Let's be real, because after Declan Rice incident, how comes you're not using your brain to understand that if you're gonna kick the ball away, there is a big chance you're gonna get booked? Now, obviously, there's double standard on that, because saying that João Pedro did that, didn't get a yellow. Doku did that in Man City game as well against Arsenal, didn't get anything. So I get that he got a yellow. Obviously, they're gonna do this and do that, but there should be some consistency. And now everyone's complaining that Arsenal are using dark cards, wasting time and everything. Every club does that. It's just for Arsenal at the moment, it was one of the most opportunistic things to do, because we have played half of the games basically with 10 men. Brighton, 10 men. City, 10 men. We have played 5 games in Premier League. 2 of them have had 10 men. So what can you do? And it coincides with the fact that it has happened against City. A team that basically dominates possession whether you have 10 men on the pitch or not. 11 men on the pitch or not, basically. Happens against Brighton. Now, Brighton as well, similar scenario. The thing is, though, with 10 men, especially against a team like Brighton, we had chances to win. So at the end of the day, Declan Rice did a stupid thing, like an idiot, let's be real. He got a red card, second yellow, and all that stuff, right? But that red card didn't stop us from winning the game. We didn't take our chances. Against City, it was a bit different. Obviously, it legit 30 seconds we had to survive till halftime, and Trossard did his dumbass thing, which completely ruined the game. Let's be real. Yes, he got a yellow card and everything, but it just doesn't fall on Trossard about his idiot thing he did, basically, because he didn't learn from Declan Rice incident. It just doesn't fall on that, because they get told as well, don't kick the damn ball away, because you have seen what has happened. You already had 2 red cards. But it also falls on referees. I'm not talking about consistency here, but about footballing aspect of human factor in the game. Because you're a ref. You should be kind of being able to read the room as well. Because that red card essentially ruined the game. Mostly because the second half was basically one team trying to attack, doing basically F-all with the attack, because City pretty much did nothing with the advantage they got for the whole half. Then they get, instead of 7 minutes, they get about 10 minutes, and they score because of that. Okay, cool. But there should be some sort of a human factor to the situation where ref goes, well, this is the biggest game of the season, arguably. The first of the biggest games of the season. City versus Arsenal, 2 title contenders. Maybe this time, I don't give him this second yellow. I give him a warning. If you do any step out of boundaries once more, then you can get your red, right? But just don't ruin the game. Such a big game. If it's Bournemouth versus Arsenal, okay, cool. It's not as big of a thing. But when you go for the title, these things matter on some level. There should be some human football fan aspect to the game where referee goes, well, if I give a red here, I will ruin the game. Let's be real. And nobody wants this game to be ruined as well. Let's be real as well to that. That red card totally ruined Arsenal. It ruined the game for most football fans. And I can guarantee you that most of the fans that were watching were wanting Arsenal to win this game, to hold out. And we were there. We legit were there. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and that would be it. The worst part is that we had to play some extra minutes. City scored, and the game instantly stopped. There were no extra minutes. Obviously, it wouldn't have made any difference because we just wouldn't randomly just go and send everyone into attack mode. But at the same time, like, that red card essentially ruined the game, ruined the pleasure of watching the game. Because the first half was actually quite entertaining, with certain players getting cooked, with skills, with attacks, yes, maybe a bit lower block, but the second half was completely dead. You basically had one team that was parking the bus, tying their grandma, their sister, mother, brother, wife, everyone in the box just to protect one goal lead, without pretty much no chances whatsoever on a counter-attack, more or less. Yes, we subbed off Saka, put on defender, went to more defensive format and everything, and people say we waste time. Hell yeah, we wasted time. 2-1 up against City, 10 men, second time with 10 men as well. Let's be real, it was bound to happen if that was the case. The thing is though, City players, also fans, also disgrace in a way. Let's be real, because if you have the nerve to take the mic and shame Arsenal fans and Arsenal players for celebrating a draw last year at Etihad, right? Have the same energy for your own players when they celebrate a draw against 10-man Arsenal, which they barely scraped at Etihad this season. Because this season, for them, it was all cool, all fine. Yeah, we got a draw. Great job. Nobody was complaining. Arsenal did that last year. Everyone was complaining. The celebrations, the happiness and everything. It's definitely two sides of the coin. Just depends which side of the coin you are on. And it goes for all the fans. It's all great with that side, all bad with that side. Just depends if it fits your narrative or not. And you cannot move goalposts like that as well, let's be real. If you want to move goalposts to the left, then stick to the left side. Don't move it back to the right. Don't move it further to the left. Pick a post and stick to it, let's be real. Cannot flip-flop all the time like that. If you have higher standards for other teams than your own, like, what are you doing here? Like, seriously, what are you doing here? Because many times when you go on X, well, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, what else is there? Even Facebook, and everything, for God's sakes, MySpace and stuff like that, you genuinely can see that many fans have higher standards for other teams than their own team. Like, how does that even work? How does that even work in the retrospect, Doc? Big up Henry in the chat. Big up, big up, big up. Sorry that the chat thing is not working for some weird reason. Rivals will always downplay our goods. Exactly, that is the big thing. And you could see that they are rattled. Because they were deep down, in a way, and I will sound like a top gunner here, I'm not gonna lie. Deep down they know that if Arsenal would have holden out to this win, it would have been a completely different season. Because on some level, the mental block that Arsenal would have at Etihad would be gone. Big weight would be lifted from their shoulders. Let's be real. And it could have set our season to a completely different direction than it did that time since we drew there. And the fact that many Rivals fans these days downplay our success and praise their own club's mediocrity, this cannot fly. If you say that Arsenal cannot celebrate a win, then how comes you are happy when you celebrate a draw? Like, and I'd seen that from United fans, from Liverpool fans, from City fans themselves. All these fans shamed Arsenal for celebrating a draw last year at Etihad. This year everyone's praising City for celebrating a draw at Etihad. Like, if you have one standard, keep it to it. Don't flip-flop just because it fits your narrative. That is for me one of the biggest issues here. They flip-flop as long as it fits their narrative, and that is kind of wild. Big up Henry in the chat, by the way. Anyways, moving forward, what else is here? Yeah, Masters of Dark Arts. This tweet also came out. few days ago. Premier League biggest time wasters. Average delay in seconds. Arsenal 31.8 seconds. Leicester 31.7. Brentford 31.2. Wolves 30.8. This is all very, very subjective and very, very biased in a way table. Because Arsenal, mostly all this is because we play with 10 men. Two of the 5 games we have played this season is with 10 men. Let's be real about that. Let's not beat around the bush. Especially against City. So especially since we're winning, we gonna waste time. You bet your sweet cookie on it. Other teams, when they waste time, it's nothing. It's all cool and fun games. As soon as Arsenal do it, we are the bad guys. Arsenal is genuinely notoriously hated for ages. It comes from Wenger days and even before that, let's be real. We hired Wenger from nowhere. Not an English manager comes to Premier League and starts to dominate. They didn't like that. First full non-English side to play in Premier League. They didn't like that. Using Afro-American players in the team quite a bit. They didn't like that. There are lots of things, because Wenger came in and went toe-to-toe with Fergie, many times got the best of him. They didn't like that. We played completely different type of football. We changed the narrative, the way the football is shaped. They didn't like that. Like, this table is very, very wrong in a way. Because what use is Leicester 31.7 seconds when they're losing many games and need to come back? It's very, very wrong table in my opinion. Dark art has always been there just because we seem to cruise well. Now it's exactly, that is the big thing. It's always been there. The biggest thing is, when Jorginho was at Chelsea, how many times he didn't get a red card? Even against Arsenal, he should have been sent off 2-3 times when we drew against Chelsea at home like 3-4 seasons ago. For City, how many times Rodri should be sent off during a game and during the course of the season, but he gets away scarred-free, for example? How many times Bukayo Saka gets hacked, destroyed, tackled every single game without any yellows on anyone? Why? Because they just switch players around. That he gets tackled by like 3 different players and they rotate all the time. So in a way, referee doesn't have the time to keep track on every single player and they get away with it. They waste time and do everything. Fall to the ground when goalkeeper catches the ball. As soon as Arsenal start doing it, it's wrong. Because they see that this long term, this could kind of be one of the rocks paving our way to title, to success, to trophies. And they don't want that. They don't want to see succeed. They don't want that. Wenger changed the whole English culture. Exactly. Wenger changed a lot. A lot he changed. But let's be real, English media didn't like that. Many English fans didn't like that. Rival fans didn't like that. No one liked that, almost. And that is another reason why we are hated. We are hated for many things over the years. It just accumulates together and it basically, it's all quiet and nobody cares until Arsenal are again up there fighting for the top spot. As soon as we started doing that, all these things all of a sudden reappeared. Because before that, we were the banter club, nobody cared about us. Arsenal finishing 8th twice, 6th, 5th, randomly 4th on occasion, stuff like that. As soon as we started to challenge, be serious contenders, again, carry our name in the limelight in a way, or, well, in this instance, close to the limelight, to the trophies, as we should be doing every single season, all of a sudden, Arsenal are a disgrace. Too much dark arts. Arsenal are this, Arsenal are that, Arteta is this, players are this, players are that, and all that stuff. Instantly. It's basically like saving a draft on a tweet and just waiting for opportunistic moment to press send. Just waiting for the right moment to get the most traction. It just was basically, you had to wait. That was it. Although this stat is something after Atalanta game I didn't like. I legitimately didn't like. Arsenal are the team to have played the most games in European Cup, UEFA Champions League, without winning the competition. That is something. It's very hard to kind of comprehend, given that we had Invincibles, some of the best teams in Premier League at times and everything. It's something I really don't like. It's something in a way I also kind of don't understand and on a level cannot forgive to Arsene Wenger. The fact that we with that team, with Invincibles and everything, we didn't manage to win Champions League. Yes, we got screwed one year. I know that very very well. But overall, with the team we had at the time, with Bergkamp, with obviously with Vieira, with Campbell, with what else was there? Lauren, Pires, Lumberg, Thierry Henry, even Edu to extent, and all them on Lehman and everything. How we didn't win Champions League? How we didn't get any trophies in Europe? Beats me. This stat is actually a quite, in a way it should be very embarrassing for many Arsenal fans in general. For the sheer fact that we haven't won it. Yes, we got screwed out in 1 year when the Van Persie red and everything, but overall this is definitely not a good stat. Definitely not a good stat if you look at it overall. They did this when Wenger was going head to head with Ferguson, when United ended our unbeaten run. That was proof they wanted to bring us down when we were out. Exactly, and they're doing this right now as well. As soon as Arsenal start challenging City, they are near the top and everything. You cannot celebrate, you cannot waste time, too many dark cards. Arteta is too animated on the touchlines. Our players are this, our players are that, and everything and stuff like that. Instantly, every single narrative they can think and come out of, instantly it gets turned against us. Instantly. As soon as Arsenal became again a big name in the newspapers and everything. But because let's be real, Arsenal is one of those clubs that get you clicks as well. As a journalist, as a YouTuber even and everything, Arsenal is one of those big teams that will get you clicks no matter what. Because if you look at many channels that do content that are not Arsenal fans, as soon as they mention Arsenal in their title, more of 99% of the time you can see that video has double or triple the views the usual videos they have, and you can see that everywhere, especially on the biggest channels. You can see that unless it's a big channel that gets views no matter what, that has accumulated an audience from all the fan bases. In a way, you can see that. Bergkamp not traveling to some matches killed some. Yeah, true. In many instances, there have been obstacles we needed to overcome, and we just haven't. Let's be real. There have been many teams for us, many great teams, many mediocre teams, some awful teams as well for us, and every single team has had certain obstacles that have been needed to overcome, and in none of those occasions we have overcome them. We have always fallen short and never overcome them, which is never ever a good thing. And if you talk about heritage, that is one thing in heritage you don't want to be as one of your corner set piece stones in general. Let's be real. This was an interesting tweet today. Was it today? Yeah, today. I was sitting at work, working, took a bit of a pause, went on Twitter. And this is the thing. This tweet. Opta supercomputer, we all know that predicts who's gonna win the league and everything, has predicted the final Premier League standings. This is apparently what Opta supercomputer thinks the Premier League will look like after the game week 38. Now, if they really think it's gonna be like that, it's the dumbest thing in the world. What is this? First of all, what is this Opta supercomputer? First things first. Second of all, does this include variables, certain variables like injuries, red cards, yellow cards, suspensions, and stuff like that, new signings in January? Does it include any of that? Because I have no shadow of doubt in my mind that even without Rodri, Man City can get close to 90 points. I'm not going to deny that because I'm not stupid, let's be real. Will a City struggle without Rodri? Yes, they will. I saw a stat a few days ago that without Rodri, City have only 61% win rate, compared to their usual about 80 win percent. The usual one, right? So that is playing in our favor. Obviously, I'm not wishing injuries on anyone. It's a very bad thing. I hope he gets a good recovery and everything. I'm not going to be one of those deluded idiots that celebrate injuries on some players and everything, or wish an injury on any other player. That is just a disgrace, and people like that generally should be banned from social media forever. Let's be real. But overall, do you agree with Supercomputer here? Could this be the table? They basically think that Arsenal will fall short of Man City by 10 points. That is what they're saying. For me, the biggest thing is this actually could be a thing if we don't sign a striker. Or unless our attack clicks into gear. Because at the moment, the biggest thing that is holding us up on many instances is our attack. Because defensively we are sound, we are solid, we are strong. Let's not get it wrong. Midfield, obviously we have injuries, but still could use at least one more signing. The attack is the part where we are struggling the most. That is for me the biggest issue, because for me Jesus is done and dusted at Arsenal. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna cap, I'm done with the guy. Martinelli, if he doesn't hit it and he doesn't start scoring goals and being back to Martinelli he's also done for me at the club. Because for the last year and a half, nearly 2 years, I have watched him stink out the place consistently, pretty much. Game after game. He gets the starting line, he doesn't get dropped almost whatsoever. He got for a few seconds, but still doesn't get dropped. For me, this table specifically, the first two spots, can become reality only if Arsenal's attack doesn't start clicking into gear. That is the only parameter that here I think is not included. Because if our attack keeps struggling like they are right now, we could be done and dusted. The attack will come, it's there. We score goals, that's evident. Yeah, well, I hope so. I hope that Calafiori and Timber will unlock some goals. I really hope. Calafiori already scored a banging goal against City. The thing is, we score goals, that is evident. The thing is, we haven't scored that many goals. Like, we have scored 5 goals against Bolton. But it is Bolton, let's be real, let's not get carried away. Our main attacker, Jesus, couldn't even score against Bolton. That is the first worrying sign. But overall, we have scored what? 1 against Wolves? No, 2 against Wolves. 2 against Wolves. 1 against Brighton. 1 against Spurs. 2 against City. So we have scored what? 7, 8 goals this season. It's not that many. We haven't scored that many goals this season, if I'm not mistaken. We actually haven't scored that many goals this season. Table. 5 games, 8 goals. It's not that great. Let's be real. 1 point something to 22 goals per game. That is not a great look. 1.6 goals per game. That is not great. Let's be real. That is definitely not great. Obviously, Chelsea have scored more. They have just lost. They're only up, but the best part is there are only 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that haven't lost this season. City, Arsenal, Brighton, Nottingham Forest, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, our attack needs to click into gear. Because we are 4th in the table at the moment, and we have scored the least amount of goals in top 4. Chelsea have scored more than us, but let's be real, their defense sucks, so they will pay the price at some point. They can outscore, but they will concede quite a bit as well. Brighton have scored the same amount as us. Fulham have scored only 1 less. Spurs have scored more than us. Brentford have scored 1 less. So it's not actually that great of a thing. Obviously, our defense is doing a great job. I'm not gonna lie, our defense is doing a great job to keeping clean sheets and defensively holding us into the games, which means we can do what we did under George Graham, if we get the chance, score 1-2 goals and shut up shop, because more chances than not that our defense will hold up. We all know that. The thing is, we just need to get those 1-2 goals, because if we don't get our chances, we won't score. We were this close against Spurs to not even scoring. We just got lucky that Vicario is useless at coming out from the goal to collect the balls, and Spurs are arguably one of the worst teams in the Premier League in set-piece situations. If we didn't have that, right? If we didn't have that set piece where we scored from, More chances than not, this game ends in 0-0. That for me is a big thing. We cannot rely consistently on scoring only from set pieces, in my opinion. That for me is the biggest issue at the moment. Because Gabriel is our center back and he's our second top goal scorer in this season. He has scored 2 goals. Nwaneri is our also second, shared second with Gabriel with scoring 2 yesterday this season. Kai Havertz is first with 3 goals. That for me is a big thing. We would have 3-4 goals against City. We could have had more against City, but that's the thing. What if? What if we don't go down to 10 men against City? What if we don't go down to 10 men against Brighton, for example? What if we score first against Aston Villa if Chard scores that chance last year? What if we don't lose to Fulham with our 55,000 chances last year? What if we score the 5 chances we had against West Ham when we lost 2-0? All these what ifs. These what ifs at the end of the season, given that in the title charge, the margin charge genuinely this small, will kind of sum up, and at the end of the season it will either take you over the line or it will cost you. And if we keep at this pace we are right now, it could cost us. So that's why I think our attack needs to get in shape. We need to sign a striker. Walker was getting exposed. Walker is just, he's washed at the moment, genuinely washed. You could say he's 3rd or 4th best English right back at the moment. Trent plays in front of him, Ben White plays in front of him. You could say, and there are quite a bit of them, genuinely. Walker is washed at the moment, got exposed to the max level. But overall, yeah, it's not a great look in my opinion. Genuinely not a great look. See, Arsenal's top goal scorers this season. It's not that great. With five games played in Premier League, 5 games played in Premier League and 1 in Carabao Cup. These are the Arsenal goal scorers. Havertz with 3, Gabriel with 2, Nwaneri with 2, Saka 1, Trossard, Partey, Calafiori, Rice, Sterling with 1. It's not a great look if you think about it. Because there are, let's say, if we exclude Carabao Cup where we scored 5 goals, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's not looking great. Let's be real. Our attack, only Saka and Trossard have scored. Rest of them is our Havertz as well. But mostly we get carried by our defense/defensive midfield. That is a big worry because our attack needs to kick into gears. If we want to win the league, Saka needs to score again 15 plus. Trossard needs to score 10 plus. Havertz needs to score 15 plus. Who else? Sterling needs to add 10 as well. We need the goal scoring form back. Martinelli needs to start scoring. Martinelli arguably was one of the main catalysts last year why we also, in a way, didn't win the league. Because the chances he got during games, which he put away season even before that on consistent basis, last year he squandered. Legitimately wasted like it's trash. And if he scored, and again, there is that if. And if he scores those chances, we win against Fulham. We win against West Ham. We don't lose those games. And again, at the end of the season, it accumulates, sums up, and we are ahead of City and we win the league. So it is a big worry at the moment. A big worry for me at least. We've just seen 3 players score to open their goal accounts last night. That Zach here. I hope, that is the thing. We saw yesterday when Nwaneri scored, Sterling scored, and Rice scored. I really hope that these 5 goals, and that the fact that we scored 5 goals kind of gives our attack the confidence they need, and it kind of raises them up. Havertz had already scored in Premier League, so it doesn't count for me. But I mostly talk about players that hadn't scored whatsoever. I really hope that, for example, when Nwaneri contributes in Premier League, Sterling contributes in Premier League, and stuff like that, they score more. Rice contributes like he did last year. For me, one of the biggest worries is Jesus at the moment. He couldn't even get a goal against Bolton. That is a massive red flag where, for me, you should be hitting the alarm button. That, for me, is a big thing. That's why I hope that in January we go and sign a striker, arguably. Yes, it's very early in the season, but so far, even again, it wasn't great as well against Atalanta, so it will be very interesting. And to be honest, according to Team Talk, which you have to take with some grain of salt, Arsenal have listed already 5-man shortlist for the striker position. The question is it for January or is it for summer? Because for me, any of these scream like summer transfers. If I'm an Arsenal fan and based on previous experiences. By the way, since when Benjamin Šeško is from Czech Republic? He's from Slovenia, you dumbasses. Just saying. Just that's one thing I'm putting it out there. Šeško is from Slovenia, not Czech Republic. If you are stating stuff like that on Twitter, you better get your facts straight. Exactly, we do need a striker. And ideally, we need a striker this January. Especially if we want to think in the regards of getting further in Champions League, playing still in Carabao Cup, in FA Cup, and challenge properly for Premier League. We do need a striker. And we needed this winter already. For me at least. And to be honest, if Daily Dusan starts again, if Daily Vlahovic comes back, might as well shut up shop in this regard. Like, I don't think we're gonna sign Vlahovic. Because Vlahovic turned us down because we weren't in Champions League. As soon as we started to winning all again, oh, we are back in Champions League. Oh, I could go to Arsenal all of a sudden. He opened up his DMs. He left Arsenal on red 3 years ago. Now he's sliding back into DMs and asking for us back. It doesn't work like that. Let's be real, man. Arteta is actually that kind of a stubborn, petty guy in a way that he is not gonna come for a player that has turned him down because he wants players that want to play for Arsenal. And in this instance, Vlahovic has already shown that he doesn't wanna, so he's not going for him. Benjamin Šeško as well has said that has shown that he doesn't want to play for Arsenal. He won a bigger bag at RB Leipzig, so I don't know if he's gonna go for him. Jonathan David is an interesting one because his contract runs out next summer, well, after this season, and I would take him on a free as a second striker. Like an Nketiah replacement, which means we still need a proper bagsman up top for me at least. And there comes Big VG, Victor Gyökeres. Well, Gyökeres, but he is genuinely shooting goals every single game that he gets called Gyökeres in a way. You know, Glock 16 and all that stuff. Victor Gyökeres. He gets about 10-11 goals already in Liga NOS. He already is carrying them and everything. So he is on fire. Seriously on fire. Victor Gyökeres is bagging goals left, right, and center. And to be honest, he has release clauses. So if we pay those release clauses, we actually could get him properly without too much problem. Jimenez just went out injured for 3 months. Jimenez, that is Feyenoord striker, right? Feyenoord striker. Gyökeres looks like the guy if we can't get Isak. I think we are not gonna go for Isak. We're gonna go instantly for Gyökeres. That is what I believe. I think Arteta has seen enough from Newcastle and everything. They demand 120 to 150 million for him. That getting Gyökeres would make much more sense since Gyökeres is nearly half the price of that. He's about, 80 million in release clauses alone, which leaves you for about 40 million room to operate at least. So I think that could be the case. But look, Gyökeres in Portuguese league, 6 games, 10 goals, 1 assist. Nearly 2 points per game on average. How can you not like the guy? Not to mention the fact that it's not just about scoring tap-ins in empty net. He carries the ball from the center circle, taking on 3-4 defenders and scores. It's headed goals, left foot, right foot, drop the shoulder, fox in the box, all you can imagine. And let's be real, for me, 6 games, 10 goals, 1 assist. Those are Haaland level numbers. I'm not saying he's Erling Haaland. He's the Swedish Haaland, if you want to say that way. But we all know that Erling Haaland is that type of player who has these type of numbers. When in 5-6 games he bags 9 goals, 10 goals, gets an assist. That is something what Gyökeres is doing. Obviously it's Liga NOS, it's Portuguese league. They have a bit worse defense, a bit slower defense, so he looks a bit better, let's be real. But he did something similar already at Coventry, then he goes there, and he still continues this for the 2nd season in a row. It's not just like a 1-season wonder, he's doing this 2nd season in a row. So that definitely would play a role. And for me, in 6 games, 10 goals and assists, for me that personally is that Haaland territory. The magic territory where in small amount of games, you get insane amount of goals. I'm not saying he's better than Haaland. Technically, he's better than Haaland. Goal scoring wise, I would say Haaland is still better, but there is still room to grow for Gyökeres and Haaland as well. And for me personally, Haaland is more suited for Arsenal. The way he plays with his dribbling, with his passing, he doesn't have the best link-up play, but still he can hold up the ball and pass it off. He can score headers, left foot, right foot, however you want. He has a great movement of the ball, good footballing IQ to make the runs, and he has, for a 6 foot, 6'2", 6'3" type of guy, he's very agile, very good on his feet with a very good tech. So for me, this is a no-brainer. If you have 80 million and you have to debate whether you sign, for example, Marcus Thuram or Benjamin Šeško or Viktor Gyökeres or Dusan Vlahovic, Viktor Gyökeres is the obvious choice, let's be real. That is for me at least. That is for me at least in that regard. But yeah, I think I have covered everything, well, more or less, let's be real. What I have missed over the past week while I was still not injured, I was sick and I was healing, I was flu and everything. I'm back now, not obviously, as I said, not to full 100, but I am almost there. Obviously, new stream tomorrow. Have to prepare for Leicester. We're going to talk about Leicester game, I think, tomorrow. It has been a blast to be back. You have been freaking fantastic. Big up BX Gunner in the chat, big up Pepper in the chat, big up Henry in the chat and everyone else. If you're new around here, of course, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, all that good stuff. I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to see you all tomorrow. Have a great evening. Have a great day tomorrow. You have been freaking fantastic. It's great to be back. Hope everyone's doing great. Take care. Stay safe. Big up the Arsenal. Hopefully we can get more 3 points against Leicester. Great watch yesterday. 5-1 wins. Kelly, Nwaneri. Fantastic. Let's see what the future brings.